Welcome to another episode of Lily's Little Life Corner. This is my first episode starting off season 2, and I kind of feel like I'm blending into my background a little bit. I'm going to silence my phone because that was very rude. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm blending into my background a little bit, but in today's episode, we are going to be talking about self-sabotage, and this topic idea came to me because of something that happened recently in K-pop. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an explainer of what happened in K-pop, and then I'm going to get into it. But before that, I know maybe some of you guys have been wondering, especially if you are not subscribed to my YouTube page, some of you guys might be wondering where I've been. So we're going to get into a little bit of an updates corner. If you guys don't care about this updates corner, or if you know where I've been because you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, then you can go ahead and skip this. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on how I'm doing. This will only be a few minutes long, so it's not going to take up the whole episode, I promise. It's just a mini little updates corner, okay? So, as you guys might know, I started getting a little bit insecure about my podcast because I didn't really know how to continue the way that I had been doing my podcast before, with the scripts, with the hours of research, hours of writing. I didn't know how to continue that without getting burnt out. And so then I came to realize, well, I would rather be spending that energy on video essays. So now I have been working on a video essay that I'm very excited for, but also very scared for. Just because you guys know, you live in the United States, you might be acutely aware of some of the things that we're going through. And, I just don't want to be tagged as a hater of the United States by making that video essay. But I think that video essay is important for me to make because it kind of shows you, I don't know, I've been very excited to make that video essay. So I've been slowly carving it out, working my way through it, making sure it's perfect, and it's taking me forever. For reference, I thought I was going to be uploading this by the end of March. It is now the end of April. The day that I'm filming this, actually, it's no longer the end of April. It is the 1st of May. So, yeah. Okay, so for context, because I can't tell you guys, it's gonna take me forever, without you guys knowing what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm watching 5 seasons of a TV show, and I'm going to analyze that TV show, and I'm going to show you guys some things that you should be watchful for when you're watching these kind of TV shows. And I am on season 2. Not even, almost anything. I'm just in the middle. Actually, no, the beginning of season 2. I got 3 whole more seasons to get through. So yeah, that's how long it's gonna take me. And I chose 5 seasons because those are the best seasons of the show, in my personal opinion. Anything after season 5, but I'm gonna talk about it in the video essay, okay? So that's where I've been. That's why I decided to take a little break, a month-long break in between seasons, so that I could focus on that video essay. Because what I would normally do is I would film on Monday. Right now it's Thursday, so ignore that. But I would usually film on Monday and then edit that entire week, upload my video on Thursday, but schedule it to go out on Friday. And so that would take up the majority of my week, right? Because I was editing most of the week. And then I have to, come up with a thumbnail and all this other kind of stuff. So I needed to take that break in order to focus on my video essay that I'm so excited for. You guys don't understand. I'm really, really excited for. And also because I have a new idea of filming these video essays, and I'm really hoping that it goes well. And I'm really hoping that, everything works out and that the audio is okay, because the audio currently is my biggest concern. I wish I could get those clip-on microphones for this upcoming video essay, but This microphone, I'm thinking is going to work just fine. I just need to finish the script. And that's another thing, is I need to watch the show, but as I'm watching the show, I'm taking notes, right? So 40 minutes of an episode turns into 1 hour of me watching the episode and taking notes, especially since I'm analyzing it, right? And then after that, after I've finished all 5 seasons, I then have to write the script with all of the notes that I've taken, and I have to come up with graph materials, like, and graphics as well, and I have to go back through the episode and screen record the moments that I'm talking about so that you guys understand what I'm referring to, especially if you have watched the show but it's been a while since you've watched the show and you don't really remember and you don't want to go back yourself and go watch the show, you know. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm not even gonna have it out by the end of May. I'm thinking I'm gonna have it out by the end of June. Like, so I needed to lock in and really work on this video essay. But anyway, this has gone on for long enough. I hope you guys are excited for that video essay, as I am too. And now, on to Lily's Little Life Corner updates. I'm thinking I'm going to change my upload date to Saturday instead of Friday. Just because, you know, I would like to give myself some more time to edit. So I'm thinking Saturday in the afternoon rather than Saturday in the morning or Friday in the morning like I have been doing. So yeah. But anyway, now let's talk about this thing, this topic, what you guys came here for. I was browsing on TikTok the other day. Not the other day. It's been a few weeks since this happened, but I was, you know, browsing through TikTok and I saw that Kiss of Life had a birthday stream. Now, if you guys don't know, Kiss of Life, I talked about them in my last K-pop episode. They are a group that all 4 of them are, you know, artistic. They produce their own music, they write their own lyrics, that kind of thing. 3 out of the 4 of them have been in the industry for quite a while. Julie, the leader, has been in the industry. She has been with YG Entertainment, and that's actually why I talked about her, because I was saying YG Entertainment's trainees tend to be racially insensitive. Julie, she has been with YG Entertainment, and then she got out of YG Entertainment and she went into a different company, and you know, she's been in the industry until she landed on S2 Entertainment and went into Kiss of Life. Natty, she auditioned for Twice. She was in JYP Entertainment and she was in the runner-up to be part of Twice, but she didn't get it because she was too young. I think she was 13 years old. So then she auditioned again to be part of ITZY. I think she was in, I think it's called IOI. I don't really know. I was not part of the K-pop fandom back then, so I could not tell you, but was in the runner-up to be part of ITZY, but again, she was too young, so she did not debut with ITZY, and then she debuted solo, so she released a solo project. Didn't really get much attention until she got into Kiss of Life and S2 Entertainment, and then that's when she started getting a lot of attention. And then Belle, she has been producing music for a ton of different artists. I know she produced, was it Fearless? No. She produced a song for LE SSERAFIM, but I couldn't tell you what the song, I know what the song is, but I can't tell you what the song is because I forgot. But yeah, so then she finally got into Kiss of Life and she's been getting a lot of attention because she also tends to sing a lot like Ariana Grande. It's a stylistic choice. I think she should stop making that stylistic choice. I'm not gonna lie. It just I don't think it suits her, but that's not what we're going to talk about. And then Hanul, I think she's pretty new to the industry. She's 19 years old, and Kiss of Life is kind of her first go at being a K-pop idol. So I need to set that context up so that you guys understand how I got to the self-sabotage issue, okay? So a few weeks ago in the K-pop community, there was a person that claimed to be a YG Entertainment employee, a disgruntled YG Entertainment employee who had been fired. And so now they were leaking a ton of information from not only YG idols, but also from other companies, which off the bat just did not make any sense to me. You're a YG Entertainment employee, but you have things from other companies. How does that make sense, right? But then also the things that they were leaking, quote unquote leaking, were things that had already been leaked by actual YG Entertainment employees. And these things that had been leaked were things that it kind of made some idols look really bad. It made idols look really bad. So we talked about in my last K-pop related episode that YG Entertainment has too many trainees that say the N-word, and in that episode I was talking about how Jennie from Blackpink, Julie from Now Kiss of Life, Ahyun from Baby Monster, also part of YG Entertainment, and then I also neglected to mention Lee Hi, I think it's her name, Lee Hi, from also YG Entertainment. She's a soloist in YG Entertainment. She also said the N-word. And so YG trainees are kind of notorious for saying the N-word. But what I did not know was that Rose and Lisa had also saying the N-word. And so these leaked videos were that. It was of Jennie, CL from 21, Rose and Lisa from Blackpink, Jennie also from Blackpink. And so the conversation started right off the bat, okay? Julie was not involved in any of these conversations. It was just Jennie, Lisa, Rose, and CL from 21. Okay? Just to give you guys some context, Julie was not a part of this conversation. She should not have had to have been part of this conversation because she, out of all of the idols that I mentioned, she is the only one that had apologized for singing the N-word, and she promised to do better, okay? Let me put that into perspective. She was the only one out of CL from 21, Jennie, Rose, Lisa from Blackpink, and Ahyun from Baby Monster. Julie was the only YG trainee who had apologized for saying the N-word and had promised to do better and had promised to educate herself so that something like this would never happen ever again. So now that you have that context, people were only talking about CL from 21, Jennie, Rose, and Lisa, okay? Again, Julie, not a part of this conversation, even though she had also saying the N-word, she also was the one to apologize. Ahyun was also not a part of this conversation, but she eventually would become part of this conversation because YG trainees are notorious for saying the N-word. So people were like, oh yeah, by the way, Ahyun also did that, right? But Julie was nowhere to be found in this conversation until a few days later. And by the way, I have to specify, I don't actually believe that leaker was a YG employee. But anyway, a few days after the leak, Julie from Kiss of Life went on, her social media, and she was like, hey guys, I'm going to have a birthday party live stream. You guys should be there. And then Belle from Kiss of Life, it was either Belle or Hanu. I've seen conflicting, things about that. It was either Belle or Hanu that they went on their social media and they were like, I'm so excited for Julie's birthday party live stream. Promise us you won't leave the fandom after watching this. Mind you, this is a few days after the quote-unquote leaks, okay? They asked the fandom, please do not leave the fandom after you watch this live stream. The live stream happens, and oh my freaking god. I did not watch the live stream, but I saw clips of it afterwards. And mind you, I had already seen, clips like the conversation about the leaked videos happening, and then I'm scrolling through TikTok, and then in between people talking about the leaks, I start noticing clips of Kiss of Life and people bringing Kiss of Life up, and I'm like, oh, it's probably because Julie also saying the N-word. No it was not. Again, Julie was nowhere to be found in these N-word conversations because she was the only one that had apologized. She herself chose to be a part of these conversations. She would have been in the clear. So for her birthday party, she chose a theme of hip-hop and 90s rappers. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that doesn't sound too bad. But if you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm going to show you guys like pictures of everything that, I'm talking about. But if you guys are listening, don't worry. I'm going to tell you guys what went down.
Yes.
About me flirting with my man, and that's not a best.
Now, if you guys don't know anything about Kiss of Life, Julie is from Hawaii. Belle is from Seattle. So right off the bat, they should know this is not okay to do. They were born and raised in the United States. Julie had already had a controversy surrounding her saying the N-word. She had already, like I said, apologized and promised to educate herself and do better. So why were they doing this? This was Julie's birthday party, okay? She was turning 25. This was everything to do with her. She's the one that chose the theme. She's the one that picked out this random ass picture of 3 black men. I said in one of my TikToks, can you imagine you're hanging out with your friends, you get dressed for the day, and you post a nice little picture on Facebook. You have no idea where that picture is going to land. You just post it on Facebook. Maybe your profile is set to public. Maybe you are a rapper and you're trying to, make a living out of rapping. Maybe you're uploading songs. At the end of the day, you just upload this picture. You had fun with your friends and you uploaded this picture. And then years down the line, you see Korean girl group they Googled, I'm assuming black men or something, and they show your picture of you hanging out with your friends, and it's enough time down the line that maybe you're not even friends with this person that you took a picture with. Maybe you fell out, maybe you just stopped talking to these people, but you see yourself on the live stream of this Korean girl group and they're saying we used this as inspiration for how we dressed. What am I, a costume? The fuck? You know what I mean? So now that context is out of the way, and this whole situation is why this self-sabotage concept came into my head and why, it was the reason why I decided to talk about this, because hi, editing Lily cutting in here to let you guys know that I am in no way, shape, or form and in no means trying to excuse what Kiss of Life did or trying to explain it away and say that, oh, they only did this because it was self-sabotage. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. It was just a path to my destination, okay? I saw that they were doing crazy things on their social media. I saw that they were being racist, and the idea came to mind because I saw that they were being racist, if that makes sense. But I'm not trying to say that they are innocent because they were, victims of self-sabotage or whatever. My honest opinion is that they truly thought they could get away with this. I truly think it was a mixture of them being racist and them trying to rage bait and trying to play the any publicity is good publicity angle. That is what I personally think happened with Kiss of Life. So I just wanted to set the record straight. Okay? Thank you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about self-sabotage. What is it? First of all, let's start by defining it. Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Self-sabotage is when you sabotage yourself, and it can happen in a variety of different, in a variety of ways. It can be maybe you got a promotion at work and then suddenly you are, doing things that you really shouldn't. And so you get fired from your job. It can be in a relationship. You got yourself into a stable, healthy relationship, and then suddenly you're out there cheating on your partner, and so your partner breaks up with you. It can be in creative pursuits. Maybe you got invited to an art show, and suddenly you're painting things that the art show would not allow. Maybe it was a family-friendly art show, and so now you're painting not family-friendly things, and so you get kicked out of the art show. It can happen in many, many different ways. And it normally happens because you're scared of the success that you're finding yourself in. So, for example, if you sabotage a relationship, it could be because you're scared of having a stable and healthy relationship. And maybe it's, maybe you've been manifesting a stable, healthy relationship, but as soon as you get into that relationship, you realize maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I can't handle this. So you start cheating on your partner in hopes that your partner breaks up with you because you're a lot more comfortable not succeeding than you are succeeding. But why would you be more comfortable not succeeding? Well, it can happen, again, for a lot of reasons. Maybe let's continue on this relationship track. Maybe you've had relationships in the past where your self-worth has come into question. Maybe your previous partners were telling you you're just not all that. You're not the woman for me, you're not the man for me, you're not the person for me. And so in your head, you're thinking, yeah, I'm not all that. I don't deserve a healthy relationship. But then, maybe you start healing a little bit and you realize, no, I do deserve a healthy relationship. But then when you get that healthy relationship, you start doubting yourself and you start maybe thinking, well, what if this person leaves me because I'm actually not all that? What if this person leaves me because they realize I'm not worthy of a relationship, I'm not worthy of marriage, I'm not worthy of a happily ever after, and so they leave me to find somebody else who is worthy of that. And instead of, you talking these concerns out with your partner, you get into your head and you think, I actually am not all that. I am not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of a happily ever after. And you yourself sabotage your relationship and sabotage your happiness because you truly, from the bottom of your heart, for whatever reason, believe that you are not worthy of that. It can also happen, like I said, in a job where maybe you've had really hard times in other jobs where you're not getting paid enough, you're not able to make rent, you're not able to get along with your coworkers, maybe your managers are also really bad and they treat you badly, they ask that you do more work than what you are actually than what is in your job description and what your pay actually says you should do, right? Maybe you're only getting paid minimum wage, but you're acting like the manager. So you shouldn't be paid minimum wage because you're really keeping the place together, you're holding everything down, but you're only getting paid as if you just barely entered, right? Maybe you've been in the job for 10 plus years and everybody is mistreating you. You have not had a raise in those 10 years, but then you find a job where you are able to be successful, where you are able to use your skills for the benefit of the company and you are recognized for those skills. And people constantly praise you and they're like, wow, you're doing such good work. Thank you so much. You deserve a raise. So then you get a raise and you're thinking, wow, this is really nice, right? But because you've spent so long in toxic workplaces, your self-doubt starts coming into play. What if I mess this up? Right? Maybe previous managers of yours were like, you can't do anything right, you always mess things up, and despite that, they were having you work 7 days a week, but, maybe they were telling you your work sucks, you will never amount to anything better, you will never be successful, you will always be stuck as a minimum wage employee, right? Maybe your coworkers would also tell you that. So then at this new job, you get a raise, and you get a promotion. And you're thinking, but I'm not worthy of this promotion. I've spent 10 years in the same position because I was told that I was not worthy of a promotion. I was not worthy of a raise. Why am I now getting a raise? Surely I still suck. Surely, I don't deserve this. Surely, maybe I'm just acting like I deserve this. But sooner or later, I'm going to make a mistake and people are going to realize I'm not worthy of this promotion. I'm not worthy of all of this praise that I'm getting. I'm not worthy of the raise that I got. And so when you get another promotion, you start kind of going a little bit haywire. You start, maybe bossing people around that you maybe shouldn't. You start yelling at people, wagging your finger in people's faces, yelling at people, becoming the manager that, the manager of your nightmares. And then, the company notices that and they're like, hey, what are you doing? This is inappropriate. This is not how our workplace functions. You can't be yelling at people. So then, you calm down. You're thinking, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm really sorry. I'm just having a week, right? I apologize. Maybe you go around and you apologize to all of the employees that you yelled at. But then, you get praised again. And you're like, I really don't deserve this praise. I really don't. And so you do more things that are very questionable, that are not allowed to happen in your new workplace, and you get fired. And then you getting fired only cements your idea that you're not worthy of that. You're not worthy of getting a promotion or getting praise or getting a raise. And so you go back into a toxic workplace where you do feel comfortable. And the only reason you do feel comfortable in that workplace, despite everybody yelling at you, despite everybody, telling you that you're a piece of crap, the only reason you feel comfortable in that is because that's what you're used to. I talked about this a little bit in a previous episode of mine, and it was to do with relationships, right? I did so many episodes about relationships. But in that episode, I was saying, the reason why women tend to seek out these relationships, these bums, these men who do nothing, is because that's what they're used to. It's because, it was their high school sweetheart. And as a high schooler, every ounce of attention is going to feel magnified because you're a high schooler, your hormones are kind of all over the place. It's the first time you have this kind of attention, so you allow your partner to get away with certain things that they really should not be able to get away with. You allow your partner to use weaponized incompetence against you, and you allow your partner to be like, sorry, I didn't know the baby needed to be fed, so I let the baby starve for the entire 8 hours that you were at work. You should have told me. I should have fed the baby, right? And then, you forgive them because, well, they're your high school sweetheart and they're the first person that showed you love. And, no, but they're actually really a great person when they're not starving the baby. So you tell yourself these lies about no, this is what I deserve. This is, I deserve this person because they're the first person that showed me love, and they're the first person that really taught me how to love others. They're the first person that I've ever kissed. They're the first person that I've ever, etc., etc., etc. They're the parent of my child. They are the love of my life. I could never see myself with anyone better. Same thing with, workplace. Maybe it's the first ever workplace that you worked at, and so you feel nostalgic for that workplace, even though maybe that workplace was not the best. Maybe they were overworking and underpaying you, but despite that, you still have love for that workplace because it's the first time you ever got a paycheck. It's the first time you ever tasted freedom. Maybe it's the first job that allowed you to buy a car or move out of your parents' home or get yourself through college, right? But throughout all of these experiences, throughout this, toxic relationship, this toxic workplace, you get told that you're not really good enough. Your partner maybe subtly or maybe outwardly tells you you're just not good enough. I could do better than you. But I feel pity for you, and that's why I'm still with you. Maybe your job tells you, you're easily replaceable. I could fire you and hire someone in the same day. I really don't need you. I only keep you around because, you have bills to pay, and I feel bad for you, right? And so all of these comments get to your head, and you're thinking, wow, yeah, I really am not worth this much. I'm not worth all of the success that I'm having. I'm not worth any of this. I'm a fraud. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't, this is as much happiness as I deserve. This is as much happiness as I can handle. So then when you finally, sober up and you realize, actually, I'm worth so much more. And you find a better workplace, you find a better relationship. The better workplace and the better relationship, they're going to tell you, you are absolutely everything. You deserve so much more. We love you so much. You're the best. You start thinking, am I? I don't really believe that to be true. Because you've been told so many times, you don't deserve this. You're not worthy of this. And so, the cycle starts where you sabotage your own success. You sabotage your own relationship. You sabotage yourself. And sometimes it's not even that, obvious. For example, with me, I have always wanted to create YouTube videos. That's always been a thing of mine. That's always been something that I've, had in the back of my head where I'm thinking, oh, just as soon as I get this, as soon as I do this, as soon as I'm this age, I'm going to be able to upload videos, right? And then I would have moments where I would kind of sober up and I'd be like, I have a phone. I have, a computer. It's a shitty computer, but I have a computer. I can edit videos and I can, upload videos, and I don't have to wait to get a good camera. I don't have to wait to get a good computer or a good microphone. I can just do it. So I would do it. And then I got an iPad. And so then I used my iPad to record videos and to edit videos. But then, I would have those moments of me sobering up and creating videos. And then I would have moments where I'm like, but I really need my content to be better. I need my content to be better. And so I would wait and I would slowly save up money. And then I got myself a MacBook Pro with taxes, with a tax return. So I bought myself a MacBook Pro. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to start creating all of the videos that I want. And, this was in 2021. I did not start creating content regularly until 2024. And that's because, I just don't know what I want to create. I got a MacBook Pro. I had an idea of what I wanted to create, but I think I could do better. I'm going to wait until I'm able to be better. And then, I switched my focus over to TikTok. And I would, grab my phone and I'd be like, hey, TikTok, what's up, right? And I would do all this TikTok nonsense. And I still was not getting the followers that I wanted. And I would, yell to the universe, why? Why are you doing this to me? Why can't I be TikTok famous? Why can't I be YouTube famous? The whole time I wasn't doing anything. The TikToks that I was uploading were sporadic. They were all over the place. They were very low quality. The YouTube videos, again, I was uploading them sporadically, very low quality. And overall, I just did not know what I wanted to do. So self-sabotage can look like that, where you're kind of moving your own goalposts. You're thinking, okay, as soon as I download editing software onto my phone, I will be able to upload videos, right? And so then you download editing software. Maybe it's CapCut, maybe it's iMovie. You download it on your phone. And then you're thinking, oh, but the camera quality, not so good. I'm gonna wait until I get a new camera. So then you finally get a new camera. And then you're thinking, oh, but I really don't know how to work this camera. How do I record videos on my camera and upload them to my phone? I'm going to wait until I know how to do that, right? And the whole point of you trying to learn how to do that is you get yourself on Google, how do I film videos on my camera and upload them onto my phone? But you don't do that. You just wait, as if the knowledge will just be airdropped into your brain. It's not really how that works, right? But then, maybe one day you're thinking, I really need to learn how to do this because I really, really want to upload videos online. So then you finally learn how to, film on camera and then transfer the videos over to your phone. And then once you do that, you're thinking, but now I need a script. So I need to write my script. I need to plan out my videos, right? But again, the whole way that you write a script and you plan out your videos is you have to sit your ass down and get on your computer, type up the script, or open up a notebook and write out your script, and, go on, put up a calendar in your room and plan out when you're gonna upload videos. But you don't do that because deep down you're thinking, I don't really deserve, like, what if I do get famous off of my videos? I don't deserve that. I don't deserve the attention. I don't deserve the fame. I don't deserve the popularity. I don't deserve having followers that wait for my next video upload. I don't deserve, anything that's going to come out of this. So, you leave it alone. You're thinking, oh, when I know what kind of videos I want to do and when I know what I want the script to look like, that's when I'm going to start uploading videos. So then one day, you learn how to do that. You learn how to write a script. You learn how to use keywords so that your TikTok or your YouTube video is pushed out onto the algorithm. But then you're thinking, but now I need a microphone. So you wait. You save up to get a microphone. You get a microphone. And you realize, well, I need to learn how to connect my microphone to my phone. So you wait. And again, all of this could have been resolved in a few days had you just gone on your computer and Googled, how do I connect this microphone to my phone? But you didn't. Maybe the microphone itself comes with instructions on how to connect your microphone to your phone. But you don't read those instructions. You're thinking, this can wait. So you wait, right? And it's this whole thing of you moving your goalposts and moving your goalposts and moving your goalposts. I have this happen to me, especially when, and I mean still to this day, in relation to my art. I do various things of art, or at least I used to do various things relating to my art. I used to, sketch on paper, and then I got an iPad, so then I would sketch on my iPad. But the whole time I was, looking at people and comparing myself. I was like, well, my art doesn't look like that. I'm just gonna stop. I'm just not gonna do it, right? And to this day, I'm still thinking like, oh, I really wish I could draw this scene because now I write on occasion. Now I write on occasion, right? And I have scene ideas, and I'm a visual learner, so sometimes when I'm, writing out or plotting out a scene, I'm thinking, I really wish I could draw this and make this come to life. But I never learned how to draw, so I can't. I mean, I could, right? And it'll look shitty, but I did it. And, I could still learn how to draw, anatomically correct humans. I could learn how to do perspective. And there'll be, like, once every few months, I will get my iPad, charge it, and I will, sit there and I will draw, but then I'll just abandon it. And then, months pass, and I'll pick up my iPad again, and I'll draw again. And my art, it's not bad, but it could improve, definitely. But I don't do it because it's a twofold thing. Number one, I'm no longer interested in improving to sell my art. The only reason I would be improving is for myself, is I would keep that art, right? And that's kind of a really healthy way of doing art, is you just, you do it for yourself. And if you improve, good. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just, this is creative self-expression. It doesn't have to be perfect, which is kind of where I am at right now. I don't want to improve because I want to sell my art. It would just be, I just want to improve so that I can draw out these scenes that I'm imagining in my head and bring them to life. But then also, it's a little bit of self-sabotage. It's a little bit of like, maybe my art doesn't deserve to be the best that it can be. Because again, part of me is still thinking like, if my art improves, I need to sell it. I need to, have people buy my art. But that's just not the case. Really, it's nowhere near the case. Yeah, and low key, during my break, this was kind of, what I was struggling with, and also why I decided to talk about self-sabotage today, is because during my, seasonal break, part of me was seeing all of the attention that my podcast episodes were getting, and I was thinking, but do I deserve this? And, with my video essay that I'm working on, I know for a fact that video essay is going to be well received, because I'm not only working hard on it, but I'm also working to actually analyze it, and not just to summarize it, but to actually analyze it. And I have a very unique thing that I'm going to start doing. And so I know from, the bottom of my heart, I can feel it in my bones that video essay is going to do numbers that I've never seen before. For my own personal, it's not going to reach like 1 million views, although maybe, hopefully it would, right? But it's going to reach numbers that my channel has never seen before. And I know that that's going to happen. But part of me is scared of that happening. What if I get, the amount of subscribers that I need to start earning money on YouTube? What am I going to do then? Where is my life going to take me then? How is that going to look like? And I'm someone who wants to know everything that is happening, right? I'm not someone who likes waiting to see what happens. I'm very adaptable, but I hate adapting. That's my thing. A small voice in my head is saying like, what if you just don't? Because if you do it, your life's going to change. Self-sabotage is very interesting because it's very quiet. I was, talking about how, you go through the cycle of like, well, what if I'm not worthy? But most of the time, you're not consciously thinking like, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of a healthy relationship. I'm not worthy of a high-paying job that respects me and respects my ideas. Most of the time, it's just the tiniest voice in your head, the quietest voice in your head that is telling you like you're not worthy. And that quietest voice can influence you to do so many things that you otherwise would never do, right? So I think I'm off center. Guys, if I'm off center, I'm really sorry. If I've been off center this whole time, it's a nightmare. But anyway, my point is that self-sabotage will really do so many things to you. And a lot of the times it's so many unexpected things that when you find yourself doing certain things, you're like, wow, I didn't even know that I was capable of doing this, right? Like, for example, think of like, if you've ever been fired from a well-paying job, you're probably thinking, I didn't even know that I could get to the point where I would be fired, right? Because it's almost like there's two parts of you. It's like you're split in two. One part really wants the best for you, really wants everything to go super well with you, and the other part hates change, hates success. And so from one day to the next, you can switch between those two feelings, right? One day you're thinking, oh, this is amazing. This is everything that I have ever wished for. I'm so glad that I got this new job. I'm so glad that I did this and this and this. And then the next day you're thinking, I hate this. I cannot do this. I cannot be successful. I don't want to be successful. And because you're in that mood, you do something so egregious that your boss fires you. And even your boss is like, why would you do this? This is so stupid of you. Why would you do this? And then the next day, you're mourning the loss of your very stable job. And you're thinking, why did I do that? Why did I ruin my life like that? I don't understand it. And it's because of self-sabotage. It's because you don't actually feel worthy of the success that you're getting. So yeah, that is my episode for today. And I really want you guys to, think about it. And because truly, self-sabotage like I said, so silent to the point where you don't even notice it's there, right? You're thinking, why do I feel like this? Like, I know I can be successful. Why do I not want to be successful? I want to be I really want to be successful, but I'm doing things that are in complete opposition to that. I'm doing things that are in complete, denial, that it's almost as if I don't want to be successful. So I really, I want you guys to get out your journals and journal, like, here is why I want to be successful. Here's why I don't want to be successful. And then really, examine your thoughts and examine your thought process. And I think being self-aware of, the actions that you do and why you do those actions really will help you better understand those moments where you're feeling down about yourself and when you're feeling like you don't deserve anything good. At least that's how it has worked for me. Sometimes I will do something, or nowadays I won't do something, and I really have to think about it, and I'm like, well, it's because this is self-sabotage. I don't want, there's a small part of me that doesn't want change, so I don't want to do certain things, right? Even though it's good change, I still hate when my life changes. And I know, logically, and when I'm not in these self-sabotagey moods, I know that I'm going to love being successful. I know that I'm going to love my new life. But when I'm in these moods, I cannot imagine that life. I can only imagine staying the same. So, yeah, it's very interesting. And once I realized that I was sabotaging myself, my life changed. And then, I still do self-sabotage-y behaviors, but now I'm able to be like, okay, well, this is just nonsense. The logical side of me is able to kick in faster and is able to be like, okay, but let's really think about the situation. Okay, let's really think about where you are currently in life and where you want to be. And let's really think about this. And that has really helped me focus on my video essay. And that is, the reason why I'm filming this podcast episode now. Is because I know that I deserve good things. And I know that I deserve the life that I want. I know that I've been working hard towards getting the life that I really want. And there's no reason why I shouldn't do something, right? There's no reason why I should sabotage myself. Okay, so that's gonna do it for today's episode. If you guys want to watch Lily's little after show, which is a nice little 10 to 20 minute segment of me yapping after the episode ends, head on over to my Patreon. It will be linked in the show notes and in the description of the YouTube video so that you guys can join me in Lily's little after show. I actually pose a question to you guys in Lily's little after show, so I hope you join me there. But if not, that's okay. I will see you guys next week with another episode of Lily's Little Life Corner. Thank you so much for watching, if you watched all the way through. And yeah, let me know what you think about self-sabotage. Let me know if you guys have had any situation to do with self-sabotage. And if you guys want to purchase a bullet journal that I designed, it'll be also linked in my link tree. You can purchase it off of Barnes & Noble, so you will not be going through Amazon. Though I do have a kids journal on Amazon. But, if you're boycotting Amazon, you can just go over to Barnes & Noble and look up my bullet journal on Barnes & Noble. But if you want, to wear a t-shirt with my name on it, that's relevant for next week's episode. If you want to wear a sweatshirt with my name on it, also head on over to the links in my description, because I now have merch and it is with Teespring, so you guys can go ahead. I have tote bags. I think I have a tote bag. I'm not entirely sure, but I have t-shirts, I have a sweatshirt, so you can wear a sweatshirt with my name on it. And isn't that so fun? Isn't that so fresh and cool? And anyway, You can check those out, or you can check out my link tree to look at my other social media and other places where you can find me and see me yapping about different things, because I have so many opinions. I will see you guys next week with a new episode of Lily's Life Corner. Bye!